Hey, Tags listeners, craving for more tags? Hungry like I am? Well, now you can unlock exclusive Tags content. I'm talking about our weekly Tags After Show and our twice monthly Dark and Dirty Show. Now you can listen wherever you get your podcasts. You'll get a notice each week when new episodes are dropped exclusively for you. So what are you getting from this exclusive content? Well, you're getting a weekly Tags After Show where the conversation continues with hot gay sex topics in a more relaxed, behind-the-scenes, more intimate format. Our twice monthly Dark and Dirty Show will often feature special guests like my co-hosts, but gets a little darker and a little dirtier as we reveal our sexcapades to your exclusive ears. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe now to unlock exclusive Tags content and know that you'll be supporting Tags Podcast to continue delivering the quality of Tags Podcast you've come to love. You can unlock this exclusive content by going to TAGSPodcast.com and click on the link Tags After Show. Thanks for being a supporter and continue having hot gay sex. What is going on? You are watching, listening to Tags Live, Talk About Gay Sex, the live version. This is episode 287. I'm your host, Steve V, alongside Kodi Maurice Doggette. How the hell are you doing?
Hello, darling. I'm doing well. How are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm actually pretty good, despite the fact that mask mandates are coming back into the mix. And I had to work out today with that damn thing on. I know it's all for the greater cause, and I'm what it is, but oh God, I feel like we're going backwards.
It's definitely a pain to work out with the mask too, so I get you.
Yeah, but it is what it is. Hopefully not for long, you know.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Cheers to Wednesday night. Happy hump day.
Wednesday, yes.
And, you know, first things off, we've got a jam-packed show. Let's just jump right into it. Kodi,
right in, girl.
People are acting out. I mean, I don't know. They are acting out. Before we've got 3 stories right now that we're going to get right into. But before I even get into the 3, do you think people are acting out because of the hot vax summer after a year and a half of being quarantined? Or is it more to do with the divided country due to the last administration? I mean, if you were just to kind of weigh in on, and you know the stories we're going to be talking about, what the fuck is going on?
If I had to guess, I would think it's because some of our socialization skills were lost during the pandemic. So the incidents that we're going to talk about are going to be more prevalent, and they're going to happen more frequently because we've just forgotten how to be around other people. And the main thing you have to remember is, and I'm going to just go into life coach mode, is to apologize to all wrong parties and to forgive yourself and take the necessary steps to resolving those issues in the future.
I like that, but I don't know if that will work for the next 3 stories. When we start with the first one, of course,
it had normal people.
Okay. Thank you for thank you for that, because our first story has to do with, of course, a Florida-bound man. It had to Florida. Always Florida.
It is.
A Florida-bound man was on an airplane and was duct taped to the seat after groping and fighting with a flight crew, according to police in Miami, Florida. A man on a Frontier's airline. Do you know that airline?
I don't know. Have I heard of that before? I don't.
It's one of the, rinky-dink ones.
When I read the story and I was like, Frontier, I was like, oh, no wonder, honey.
Sadly, like Spirit Airlines, I think I've been on it before, but
I have.
So you get what you pay for. Exactly. A man on a Frontier's airline from Philly to Miami was taped to his seat and later arrested after he allegedly inappropriately touched 2 female flight attendants attendants and assaulted a male flight attendant. And in the incident, it was totally captured on video. Essentially, though, he was drunk. He came out of the bathroom after having a couple of drinks. He yelled expletives at fellow passengers and then punched a male flight attendant. And they duct taped him, or the tape that they had, to his seat. And if you watch the video, Kodi, and I know you did, you see the other passengers kind of like giving you like, you deserve this. I am not mad at it. The one thing I'm really mad at it is that they keep blaming it on things like alcohol. And they keep taking away my alcohol on a flight. And listen, I can handle my motherfucking cocktails on this show as I can on a flight. I do not start beating people up, telling people how much my parents have, which, by the way, is not a lot. I mean, or like he did, and going haywire. What were your thoughts on this, and why is everything, like I started the show with, taking away everything? It's because of these people, I'm just going to say it, the unmaskers of the world and the idiots of the world who are making it worse for all of us.
Let them know. Preach the truth, okay? Preach the gospel on this show here today.
Yes.
This clip, actually, I watched it twice because I had to it made me so upset I couldn't even like finish it the first time, because the level of entitlement and blatant disregard, all the people that he was yelling at were clearly of a lower class than him. I'm using quotation marks. So it was just in pure entitlement. I couldn't believe that he was yelling that how rich he is and how looking down on these people that were just basically trying to do their jobs. And it made me so sick to my stomach. When he got taped up, though, that was so gratifying to me.
It really was. And it's not the first time recently that I've seen somebody being taped up. There was a woman on another flight recently I was reading about that apparently it came down to she had a mental illness that she was acting out. And they duct taped her to the seat as well. And I'm not mad at this practice, because in this Frontiers flight, they were going to reprimand the Frontiers flight attendants for doing this. And it all came out later that they sided with the flight attendants that no. And I'm sorry, I'm not mad at that. If you're on a flight and the only other person that can save you is that person up front in the cockpit, and you don't know if this person in front of you is going to, who knows what they're going. Well, they are going crazy. Duct tape them, gag them. Sorry, I don't care if you feel like you're treated like an animal. If you're going to act like an animal, we're going to treat you. And actually, animals don't even act like this.
It's true.
It's just like a beast.
They should have put him right underneath with all the dogs and the cats and shit.
Sit yourself down and shut the fuck up is all I got to say. Well, it keeps going on as Twitter went crazy over a DJ story from a recent Friday night party. And the writer writes, there are times when a tweet takes on a life of its own and becomes a story unto itself. Well, the latest comes in the form of a tweet from a DJ and producer Ty Sunderland. And somebody DM'd me and wanted us to talk about this. And I was like, what? I don't understand it. But now I get it, because it's become this whole thing. So it all started when DJ Sunderland announced a party aboard his Britney boat. They're just going with it. In Brooklyn.
Brittany. I'm all for it so far.
In Brooklyn, New York, on the last Friday. And the party seemed at some point to take a turn because of a certain party goer Sunderland branded as Demon Twink. Sunderland created a tweet thread to explain the situation. Sunderland's original tweet, where he coined the term, blew up at some point, and it didn't take Twitter enthusiasts long to develop memes and parody posts concerning Demon Twink. And essentially the whole thing happened because Demon Twink threw a cocktail at DJ Sunderland's equipment,
which is very expensive.
Extremely expensive. Proceeded to dance away, and then later was caught in public getting his ass eaten, which I'm not really mad at. But
Okay,
we're gonna
all
talk
right.
about ass eating in a minute,
Okay.
and when being caught. What were your thoughts about this when you first heard of that? And I guess my question to you, Kodi, is: have you ever acted out that even you surprised yourself? I have a story, so don't
Okay.
tell us
Don't
the.
judge myself.
No,
Exactly. Okay, you're
I'm
right.
about to tell a story.
Yeah, you're gonna judge me. You're gonna judge me for me, right?
No, I'm gonna have my own story.
Oh, okay. All right. So girl, the Demon Twink has been with us all along. He's been there in the corner. I don't know if the pandemic is bringing out the Demon Twink or if the Demon Twink brought about the pandemic. All I know is he's been there all along, and he's showing his ass literally now on the Britney boat. For me, in reality, they've lived with us and they are going to be with us until the end of time. And
Yeah.
this is not anything new for me, unfortunately. So, yeah. What were your
Yeah,
thoughts?
I can't be too mad other than he was in costume. He had like a whole makeup look and these little demon
Horn?
antlers to
Yeah.
make it that much more of a story that we're even talking about this. But I definitely had a period a few years ago, I think in like 2019, where I don't know what was going on. I worked through it, and I
Hmm.
think I worked through it so much that I forgot like the actual reasoning as why I was
Yeah.
going berserk, as I like to call it. But I was going berserk, and I was going just acting out, I think, was a thing. And I'm fortunate that I had people in my circle, in my community, in my repertoire that actually said, "What's going on with you? Why are you going
Yeah.
berserk?" And they checked me, and so much so that somebody even brought me to coffee and like had to, and I said, "Oh, I'm fine."
Aw.
No, but it was good. It was
Yeah,
really
for sure.
good. And it wasn't even anything that was at the, I know at the time I was going berserk and I was just really acting out. But I was so happy that I had people on my side to people, you always know when if you're going through something, who's there
Mhm,
to pick you up, who really believes in you. I
mhm.
actually know that I had some people in my court that were like, "Hey, what's going on with you? Like, what's like literally what's going on with you?"
That's amazing.
And it was really cathartic and helped me just check myself and work through it. And I remember at the time I did a lot of work moving through it.
Mhm.
And I no longer have that so much so that I can't even remember like the actual mental issues that were happening with me. But it was something. So I
Yeah.
can't really be too mad at this, particularly with everything that's going on, other than because
If
we
it's
know our.
habitual, then it is a problem. But if it's
Yeah.
every now and then and you work through your problems, like if you address them and then it's not a problem. Like, and then it's something, it's a factor, it's a reaction to some hurt that you're feeling. So if you're working through it and you're making the strides to heal from it, then that's something different entirely. If it's something that somebody does all the time, then that means that's not a good person, and we need to stay away from them as much as possible. They need to all go in one group and be shipped somewhere else, basically.
And by all means, do not throw a cocktail at our equipment, as we know so much about our equipment here.
Oh, for sure.
Equipment is expensive. Leave the equipment alone. That's all
And
we
now
have
that
to
you've
say.
shared, I feel more comfortable to share my story.
Yeah, please.
So the Demon Twink possesses me around my birthday. It's when I feel my most entitled. So one year we were on the beach and we had had a couple drinks and I just completely blacked out. And I remember Silas was there, so he'll be able to tell you that I acted a plumb fool. So, but it was about 10 years ago, and then just recently it happened again. Silas just put the googly eyes in there, like, "Ooh, girl." it, but it's every 10 years that I might get possessed by the Demon Twink. So yeah, it happens. Like I said, you address it for the wrong parties and then you move on. You forgive yourself and you heal from it. Basically,
you have to.
exactly.
You absolutely have to. And Demon Twink, we're here for you. Just don't throw any more drinks at the equipment. That's the only thing I really got mad at. Is
I'm here for
don't.
life coaching, Demon
Yeah,
Twink.
yeah. Okay, and I thank you. Just and getting your ass eaten. We're about to talk more about that. In fact, let's move
Okay.
on to our third story. You need to check for CCTV. You know those little cameras that
Oh, I know.
you think you're being clever. You're being filmed all over the place. The next time you fool around, as two guys were caught enjoying each other's company on CCTV. Do we call that CCTV here in the States, or
I
is
don't
this a
think so. I
British?
think it's
I think
only
it's a
in the
British.
UK.
It's a British thing.
It's British, darling.
It's those cameras that are all over the motherfucking place, proving why you should always do a quick look for cameras as well as people before getting frisky in public. And it's unclear exactly where the fun is taking place, but the security watching the tapes can be heard in this particular video that we can't show you now, but I'll post this on TAGSPodcast.com. And in the footage, one guy is having his hole attended to by a guy who simultaneously jerks off, and a voyeur pleasures himself to the pair. And it's funny. I watched the video, and you can hear the security people like having their field day watching this. And it looks like a construction site, Kodi, if you will, where they thought that it's in plain daylight. And there's one guy who's leaning up against a cinder block of a concrete block, jacking himself off with his ass open, and another guy is feeling him fingering him, and then another
wait a minute. I might need
another two guys come and start fingering him. But the thing is, they didn't realize that they were being randomly filmed. And I'll start with this one. You do got to watch for cameras. I was literally just talking to, I go here in New York City to the New York Eagle, which is known as a cruise bar. And my friend who works there as a bar back was just telling me the other day that, stuff happens inside the bar, but he was getting off after the bar closes at 4 a.m. here. He was getting off with his manager at 5 a.m. So almost twilight, like the sun is almost about to come up, and they see across the street from the bar another guy on his knees eating the other guy's ass out, and another guy sucking the cock. And the manager goes to my friend, what are those guys doing over there? And my friend goes, well, you know what they're doing. So my friend ran over there and literally reamed them and said, listen, there's a building up here, and we cannot get caught because they will always blame it on our bar. With you guys having the fun, you need to take this and get on out of here. And by the way, the cameras right here to this building are filming you. So they're like, oh, what? They are? They're like, yeah, look at the camera right over there. And they like barely could pull their pants up as they hobbled off around the corner and scurried off away. And I mean, we are always, I know we all love outdoor sex on this show, but you got to be careful, right?
You got to be careful. Were they in front of the building? Were they not even the alleyway?
So in this particular situation, the bar is on one street, and across the street is a high-rise building, and they were across the street. So not in front of the bar to incriminate the bar, but in front of the bar to incriminate the bar, because where else were they coming from at that hour? And the camera of the high-rise building across the street was filming them, and they already get complaints that, the music's too loud, people are coming out of there stumbling and drunk, sex is happening. So the point being, and I do have a point, is don't mess with my bar, because it might mean that we don't want to get it closed down. And if you're going to fool around, don't do it across the street where that building that already has a thing out for this bar is going to cause a ruckus.
Take it to the alley is what I say. That is my advice. You know that there is unwatched footage of me out there having sex outdoors. I just know that there is. I am a huge proponent of outdoor sex, and I know there's B-roll of me getting it in with somebody's son. That's all I have to say. And because there's cameras everywhere and you just never know what angle it's coming from and what's being recorded where. I actually have a story if we have time.
Yeah.
Of a friend that got recorded having sex without his knowledge, and his entire workplace watched the video. I may have seen a clip, but just a clip. I didn't watch it because I knew the guy. I thought that was a step too far.
Yeah. It's a whole thing. And even when I go to my bar, the thing is now at my cruise bar, things may or may not happen in certain spaces at this particular bar.
May or may
and
not.
I don't know. I was having, and the problem being is when you know too many people that work at the bar, it's like you don't want to be caught and be, oh, that guy. And they allow stuff to happen, but then they break it up, and it's this whole thing. And I get it. And the thing is, recently I was there having a little bit of fun. Okay. And I was then talking to my manager. I'm like, please tell me you weren't looking at the cameras between 210 and 220. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, no. And he's like, oh, I wasn't. I'm like, okay, good. Because I may or may not have been on camera at that point when I realized I may have been on camera. And he's like, oh, Poppy, I can go back on the camera and look at the. I'm like, no, don't do it. Did I say 210? I meant like 3 weeks ago at 4. I know.
Yeah, so we could have a whole field day as far as our unviewed B-roll of us.
Absolutely.
On CCTV. Closed circuit television is what Teddy says. So,
I love that. All right. Well, we've got to move on. Speaking of rimming and getting your ass eaten, my favorite show right now on HBO or HBO Max is The White Lotus. Okay. It's so good. It's written and directed by Mike White. If you know anything about Mike White, he did a show that I was really obsessed with called Enlightened with Laura Dern several years ago. I love his sensibility about life and people and society. Well, his current one, White Lotus, is causing a whole scene. If you aren't checking it out, you need to. In the twists and turns of HBO's The White Lotus, viewers were left with a surprising finish this week as Armand, played by Murray Bartlett. You might know Murray from... Oh, I love him. Looking. Thank you. Yeah. I love him. Yeah. He got very intimate with his employee, Dylan, played by Luke Gage. In the context of this scene, so this is Murray talking. In the context of this scene, we wanted to be shocking. And, it is shocking, Bartlett said, after the episode aired. But I also love that it's not something that we see very often in terms of the function of the scene. I think the shock value of that for people who are not used to that kind of configuration of intimacy he's talking about eating out is really brilliant. Gage also said during an interview that the script originally called for a more generic scene, but he and Bartlett found another way to achieve the intention. I won't spoil it, but they get high on something and go there. He said, according to Bartlett, we said, wouldn't it be more interesting if Dylan gets his salad tossed? I mean, how often do we see that on TV? He said, I think it's much more interesting and much more jarring to walk in on. And it really was. There's some folks that didn't believe it on another platform. They didn't think it was really realistic. But actually, if you're just watching it, not creating memes or GIF files, it looked like he was eating his ass. And I was wondering, wow, how did they make that happen on TV? Because how do you pretend like you're eating someone's ass? And I guess if you go really close and you create memes and GIF files, you could see that maybe it wasn't as close as we think, but his mouth was still around the crack.
His nose was all the way up there from the GIF that I saw. I'm going to watch the clip as soon as we get off of the show.
Yes, it's so good.
Between pre-production and the live show, but I will be watching this show and I will be giving my assessment to you personally of what's going on and how realistic it is.
It was really realistic because if the way it was cut and just the fact that they, as actors, so for those that are coming after them that it didn't look that real, it was his idea, Murray's idea, along with the actor, to go a little bit deeper, literally, and show something like that. And I think it's we need to see more scenes like this on mainstream, all right, HBO, but still mainstream television to show that
HBO is
sexuality,
mainstream now.
yeah, all right, so it comes in different packages. And this was something that I thought pushed the needle in a way for our sexuality in mainstream television, that shows that we don't just suck dick and fuck up the ass, we eat
Hey,
ass, and we get our ass eaten. And I was all for it. I was like, good for you, like take
the
it to
way
the
to
next
pleasure.
level.
The way to pleasure is so varied and wide, and the scale is so large that I agree with you. And it just makes me so happy. I've had a crush on Murray Bartlett since I saw him in Looking, and it makes me so happy to know that he is an ass eating aficionado, because this was his idea. So I'm excited.
And those, me too, major crush on him too. And those coming for it, that it didn't maybe look as realistic as not, because the ass wasn't sticking out as much. If you know anything about kissing on television for years, and I watch a lot of old movies often on the weekends on TC, the classic movie channel, and kissing on acting is always like just touching of the lips and doing this, like they don't use tongue. And in those older movies, if you look at a lot of those older movies, when they do that, it really looks like they're literally just touching lips and doing pressing up against each other. I feel like actors today have either some of the films allow them to go full throttle, or B, they've perfected it a little bit more so it doesn't just look like they're pushing
more realistic
mouths against each other.
Yeah.
But this is a brand new thing. So for those that were coming at Murray and the scene that maybe it didn't look real when you captured it in a GIF or a meme file, I'm saying, what examples of eating ass do we even have? And give them the benefit of this is breakthrough. So shut the fuck up. This was breakthrough. I'm here for it. And what part do you have in a Hollywood show that you're going to tell us about, motherfucker?
Exactly. The only examples that we have are actually porn, and this is mainstream media. So things that there's room to grow, and there's room to actually have safety protocols, because both actors have so I am here for it. I'm glad that they're breaking boundaries, and I'm glad that Murray Bartlett was the one to do it, because.
And imagine, Kodi, like, what if you and I are like close BFF friends, and haven't crossed that line ever, and you have a boyfriend, but what if we were like in a love scene and thinking about like the making out moments where actors don't even add the lip, and we had to do this scene. You and I are gonna work together to make the ass eating look realistic, but I'm not gonna stick my tongue up you're not gonna stick my tongue up, but we're gonna do our damnedest to make it look like I'm being Kodi, or whatever your character would be named. We are professionals.
That's
God
right.
Damn it. What do the people have to say? It looks like Teddy has something to say before we move on.
I was reading that the first actual film kiss was done in the 1970s. So relax, queens. Reference needed. So wink, wink. Thank you, associate producer. Thank you, Teddy Alexis. We appreciate you.
Psst. Got a sex conundrum? Need another take on how to handle it in the bedroom? Or in the alleyway? Well, ask Tags. Need some advice regarding your relationship? He's perfect, but again, we got you. DM us for some solicited sex or relationship advice. And listen to our advice on an upcoming Tags podcast. Sometimes you just need a fresh perspective and objective ears. DM us on Instagram at TAGSPodcast. We got you. I love it. All right. Well, it looks like we're going right more into hot topics. Let's just keep the hot topics going.
All right, boo. Let's do it.
Let's keep them going. All right. OnlyFans. We all love a good OnlyFans moment. How many subscriptions do you all have? I'm managing at 2 per month is where I'm at right now. But OnlyFans has new strict rules. And wouldn't you know it, according to performers, OnlyFans have enforced an even stricter set of rules that is making it even tougher for them to create content. And earlier this year, the subscription platform, which is populated by sex workers and adult content creators, according to this writer, introduced new rules which claim that users could not post content filmed in public without written consent from the landowner. They also added and get this, Kodi, they also added a ban to fisting. What?
Oh, I'm done with OnlyFans now. I'm done.
Yeah, I look at. Anyways, you'll hear my Doc and Dirty show soon. But now, an adult entertainer, Dan Saxon, who's based in Melbourne, Australia, tells us that performers and models must provide a photo of their collaborators holding their official ID in one hand and a form that confirms their name, age, and dress in the other. Creators will know that unless they have substantial followings, a struggle in itself, because Twitter and Instagram apparently are deleting accounts without warnings. It can already be difficult to find men to collaborate with, which is why many of the participants have their faces blurred. So I guess they're trying to get people's consent on who they're working with by showing ID and so forth. And I know with some of the ones that there's one guy that I followed for a minute, and he always has a mask over his face. If they're looking for people I'm happily will show my passport, my ID,
tribute, boo. You volunteer
my vaccination card to gladly fill in for some of these people. Yeah, I host a show about gay sex. I will gladly step up to the plate and fill in if any of these OnlyFans people are looking for that, if that's what it's come down to.
Anything for the show. I'm glad. Thank you so much, bro. You're making the sacrifice, and I appreciate you.
What do you think about all the clampdowns? Because it's happening, and we feel it a little bit even on this end, even having like a gay sex podcast at times. I even just yesterday got YouTubed, maybe some of your content doesn't follow within our guidelines, even though I click on the box. Yeah, I mean, what's your thoughts on this, Kodi, on the clampdown and as we continue to move forward with all this stuff?
I don't know if you heard that huge sigh that I just let out, but it was there. And I know that this is a hurdle for the performers, but it beats the alternative of not being able to do the things that OnlyFans has come to be known for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you look at things like Twitter and Instagram, they're really cracking down on the underage. And even Tumblr. Tumblr basically had to shut down because of underage pornography being on their site. So if you look at what happened with those sites, I think this is mild in comparison. Also, if you look at a lot of these guys already collaborate with other OnlyFans performers. So I think that there's a way that you can make it happen. So I know. I don't know that I'm really worried about too many of them, because so many of them have they're porn stars. You were asking me offline if they had to show them their ID to the world. And I was saying, I don't really know that answer, but I would assume they meant take a picture of your ID and send it off to the OnlyFans accountants or the people. Yeah, not like everyone, all of us have to see all that, because if you're a porn star and you're collaborating with another person, chances are your ID doesn't reflect the name that you're going by. As we all know, porn stars go by different names and identities. So I'm assuming that it just means that you have to show proof to the people so that it's your consent. It's your consent form. I participated in an OnInfans scene a while ago. Oh, really?
I'll talk about it.
Tell me all about it.
I will. We don't have enough time. It's coming up on an upcoming Dark and Dirty show.
Okay.
And essentially,
okay.
And essentially, we didn't sign it, but I gave my consent. And if it ever came up, I would just say, yeah, that was me. And it was my apartment that we shot in. As you can see here, that's my couch. That's that's my couch. And yeah.
Turn the camera around. Let everybody see.
It's interesting because this article went on to say, this article was a little wonky in a different ways, because it said it's believed that OnlyFans started clamping down on rules following Bella Thorne, apparently a very popular OnlyFans performer, Bella Thorne's foray into the platform. I'm assuming Bella Thorne was I'm not sure who Bella Thorne is.
She was a pop star before. Let me Google it really quick.
Google it really quick, because it might make more sense after I read it. It's believed that OnlyFans started clamping down on rules following Bella Thorne's foray into the platform, where she told fans she'd be posting nudes, and then made roughly $3 million in 2 days, and then posted a photo of her naked body, but not relieving any of the parts people were subscribing to see. The platform received a record number of refund requests. So, did you find out who she is?
Yeah, she's an actress and a musician, and she's known for Shake It Up, which sounds like something Disney, but I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, so, and Silas concurs with that. So in other words, it was somebody that's not known to be a porn star, and she said she was going on the platform and going to show her naked body, and apparently all she gave was just more of like maybe a Playboy type of nude picture, if you will. I'm making this up, y'all.
Yeah.
But my point being is, how much did I say? 3 million, 2 million?
3 million. Yeah.
3 million.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted their money back when they because they thought it was, she actually did and said what she told everybody. I think everybody thought, oh, we're going to get to see some.
They were going to get raunchy, and it was raunchy. More peaceful nudes, like things that you can see in an upscale magazine anywhere. So I don't know if I would be upset or not. I don't think that I would be upset, because I spent my money for nudes and she provided them. So I don't think I would be upset at all.
It's an interesting debate, because you're right. She did what everybody said. And it sounds like, according to this article, OnlyFans is clamping down because all the money that they had to refund at the $3 million, and they get their take of it, their take of $3 million. And so that's why they're clamping down on consent and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's funny because Lil Nas X recently said, with his current music video that we've been talking about on TAGSPodcast, about where he's dancing naked in the shower with his dancers.
The unedited version is going to be on OnlyFans?
Well, he said, so it was this whole thing. He said, I'm going to give you the unedited, like the director's cut, if you will. Ooh. And the thing, and all of these people went on there to look, and he teased everybody when they went on there. He stalled it on purpose. And he had people like, wait, I reset my internet, like you always are, Kodi, and we're not getting anywhere. And that was pissed everybody off. But in the case of Bella, this woman, she actually delivered, and there is a market for people on OnlyFans. I think Sebastian Lacage, who's been my co-host here when he filled in for you, is giving people a different version of sexuality that isn't like porn, and people are there for it. I just think you have to be maybe upfront with it and manage people's expectations, or direct people in the expectations that they don't know that they want. Makes sense of that. I
agree with that. But also, if you're smart enough to make $3 million in 2 minutes, then make that $3 million.
Had to refund it, and all that is the problem. I think she should have done a better job of managing it. Like, you're going to get, it's a new way of looking at it. I'm going to give you this. I'm like leaning into, I don't know. There could have been a better way. Teddy says, I fell for it about Lil Nas X, and was not
charging real dollars.
Yeah, he wasn't charging any real dollars though. Okay, thirsty bitch titty. It's interesting. Yes, I love it. All right. Well, we got to move on.
Okay.
There's a recent Reddit where somebody posted on this Ask Gay Men, and they asked the question, what is a hookup you regretted soon or immediately after you finished? Just like the title says, I'm curious to hear about regrets immediately after the horny demons got their climax. Okay. And he wanted to hear some of the awkward tales. And some people said interesting things like hooked up with this guy in the middle of the night and he was so boring, didn't like sucking dick or getting sucked. And he was so annoying about anal. I ended up leaving 15 minutes after the fact.
Wow.
What else did people say? In college, just after I came out, my junior year, I hooked up with this guy who was straight curious. We had messaged back and forth a bit before deciding to hook up. He lived in a town about an hour north of my college. The night we decided to hook up, though, he got us a hotel room, and I drove up late at night to meet him. It was both of our first time, so we flip-flopped. Afterwards, he started freaking out, and we left the hotel. I drove back to my dorm at 1 a.m. He then ghosted me afterwards. That doesn't sound that bad, though, to me. Does it to you, Kodi?
No, that doesn't sound that bad. Sounds like a Friday night before I got a boyfriend to me.
So, Kodi, I ask you, because I got my stories. Have you ever had a hookup that you regretted, and what was the story? What can you share with us?
So I didn't even write any notes for this. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm a pro at telling this story. The worst hookup I ever had. This guy had been pursuing me for months, right? I got so drunk that finally I went home with him. And then I woke up. I don't remember necessarily what happened or the experience, but I remember waking up next to him and being absolutely scared of what was lying next to me. I rushed him out of the house because we were at my house, which I never take people back to my house. I rushed him out of the house. Very, very seldom do I take people to my house. I rushed him out of the house and I had to call all my friends and say, oh my God, that guy that I was not attracted to in any way, shape, or form. I took him home last night and I'm so ashamed of my life. I don't know. It happens.
It's so funny, the thing about like waking up next to somebody, because I recently brought somebody over that he didn't even seem that drunk. And midway through, we took a shower together. I got out of the shower. He continued the shower. He came back into my dimly lit bedroom. Okay. And all of a sudden, he looked up at me and was like lost looking. Oh. And I was like, what's up? He's like, and he kept looking at me in this lost way for like seemingly an epic amount of time until he finally said, oh my God, I just blanked. And I was wondering where I was. And I almost had to go home. And I'm like, really? And then he remembered, thankfully, and said, oh no, I know who you are. And I was like, how much have you drunk? And we had a great time. And well, not on my clock. And
it hasn't ever happened to you, Steve. It's never happened to you where you kind of went home with somebody and you kind of blanked out a little bit.
Yes, but it seemed the timing was just a little bit weird, and he ultimately did remember, and we're still trying to like figure out a time to get together again to make it happen again. Okay. It just was weird, and I won't hold it against him because it was good. Did you make him
sleep on the couch?
No, I did not. Okay. I did not. The one thing I can tell you about a hookup gone wrong, the two that I wrote in my notes here, had to do with people that wouldn't leave. And Jeremy Ross Lopez knows this, our other co-host, because often Jeremy would stay over. And I think I even had a couple times Jeremy staying in the front room and I had like my hookup in the back with me. Okay. And it's not even a proper door in my apartment, but it's far enough. Yeah. Whatever. Don't judge me. But the point being is one time Jeremy and I were here, and the guy would not.
Jeremy knows how to leave, number one. Okay.
No, not Jeremy wasn't my hookup though. It was.
No, I know. If he gets
Oh, yeah.
uncomfortable by you hooking up, he knows how to go home or what have you. He's an adult. He can make his own decisions.
But both of my experiences of bad hookups, according to like this Reddit thread, had to do with guys that wouldn't leave. Like I'm talking about the next day, and one guy, I'm not sure. Jeremy and I literally were wondering, is this guy homeless? Is he homeless? Because he locked himself in my bathroom for I think 3 hours, and we kept knocking on the door and asking, "Are you okay?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And he wouldn't leave. I mean, I'm serious. It was that creepy. He finally came out, and I threw his clothes out into my hallway, not even knowing that. I mean, I threw.
I see you doing that, by the way.
Honey. Another time, I had another guy. He ended up transitioning into like a porn star, but he somehow locked himself in the bathroom. And I don't know what he was doing, playing with toys again, like 3 hours in there. And I went to bed, child. I went to sleep, and I woke up and he was still in there. Mine all have to do with just I can't get, or the next day I'm like, okay, yep, I can offer you a cup of coffee, but you need to leave 3/4 of the way into that coffee because I got stuff to do. Just like,
that's why I'm bringing people to my house. That is exactly why.
Don't overstay your welcome.
Yeah. People don't know when to go. I know when to go. So that's why I go to other people's houses.
Do you? Anyways, we've got to move on. It's time for our Thirsty Thursday as when this comes out, and we put it in the comment section for you. All right. We do this every week where we ask or descriptively describe who took the thirstiest picture of the week. It's usually OnlyFans and porn stars, and this week it is how many people took it this week?
12.
Brought by straight up gay porn. All right, Kodi, descriptively describe who took the hottest shot or video of the week.
So my thirst trap Thursday on a Wednesday goes to the gorgeous Jason Vario. It's a video, and it's shot from underneath. And he's in his bathroom, and he has a dildo suction cup to the wall, and he is going for the gold on this dildo. Okay, Simone Biles would be so jealous. He's pounding his own ass, and at a certain point, I don't know if it's pre-cum or if it's ass juice, but it hits the camera, and I was just wishing it was my face. That's all I have to say. And
that's amazing.
It was beautiful. It was a thing of glory, and I need more of that in my life.
Kodi, I love this game with you because we never seem to pick the same ones, and we don't even talk about who we're going to pick before we do the show, and I love that. So I ended up going with, I have two coming in at number one, and since we're in an Olympic week, the Olympics are not over, I've got my gold and silver. The gold goes to Romeo Davis because he's got a trucker. So imagine this. He's got a trucker hat on, a beard, full lips. He looks like he's giving you what the fuck look on his face. He's got a baseball jersey shirt on. He's very hairy below, but his dick is as thick as they come.
It sure is.
And it's like, he's saying what, and I'm all about that. I went on to his Twitter handler, and I want more of it. So Romeo Davis gets mine first pick. But coming in with the silver in our Olympic week goes to Curve Daddy.
Oh my God, that was my silver of this.
Is that your silver?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. We never picked the same person, so I think that's crazy.
Wait, what's the Olympic tune?
I don't. Don't ask me. I have no idea. All
right. Anyway, Curve Daddy is gets the silver, and the reason why he gets my silver, first of all, he's beautiful. He's got beautiful abs. If you like a curved dick, he's beautiful. I love his face. But in honor of having Will Tantra on last week, who taught us how to do our Kegel exercises. Essentially, you can do that thing with your dick like he is doing if you just practice 10 times a day. You squeeze below, you squeeze 1 through 10, and on the 10th one, you hold as long as you can 3 times a day. If you do that, you can also do what our silver medalist Curve Daddy 1 gets. And you can be like, hopefully you'll be an Olympian just like him.
Just like him.
Well,
children, thank you so much.
That's my number 1, according to Silas. Okay, I'm all here for it. I love it. Thanks so much for playing. This has been so much fun. We will get back to our vulnerable voices at some point, but we just are having too much fun on these hot sex topics. I want to always thank my co-host, Kodi Maurice Doggette. You can follow him. He is a life coach. He was not kidding on that. Follow him at KMD Coaching, or on his personal one where you can get a nice chest shot at Mr. Maurice, at Mr. Maurice. Follow us on Instagram at TAGSPodcast. And in the meantime, continue having hot gay sex. Yes. Hey, big spenders. Feel like spending a little on tags? Well, whether you're a big spender or a good tipper, now you can make a one-time or recurring donation to Tags. Show your love and support for Tags Podcast in a big or small way. We promise we're not size queens when it comes to your support. We love you for listening, and if you enjoy Tags, then consider supporting the show so we can continue doing what we love. Go to tagspodcast.com and click on the link Donations.